Hello students, welcome to SR Concepts, and in this video I'm going to start a new chapter, that is improvement in food resources. So first of all, what is food? Food gives a number of nutrients to living organisms like carbohydrate, fats, vitamins and minerals, and these all are required for gaining energy and for development and maintenance of the organisms. So this is why food is required. Now food is required to all human beings also. Let's see which type of foods we obtain. We obtain the foods from plants, and these foods are obtained from agriculture. We also obtain some foods from animals. For example, we eat meat, eggs, milk, and a number of products are obtained from these all. So this is obtained by the practice known as animal husbandry. So dear students, now let's understand that day by day the population of India is increasing, and we need to increase the production of the foods from agriculture and animal husbandry. So what we call this? We call that the efficiency of crop production and livestock is required in India. This is because the Indian population is growing very fast, and requirement of food is also very fastly increasing. The demand of food is increasing. Now the agricultural land is very limited, and day by day it is actually decreasing. We are converting the cultivable land into the buildings, right? So day by day we are reducing the agricultural land. It was already limited, and now we are decreasing in it day by day. However, the amount, or the we can say the demand of food is increasing, so obviously we need to do something for increase the yield of crop. So what is yield of crop? Yield of crop means the amount of crop produced per unit area. This is one parameter of measuring the yield. However, yield may also mean that a particular plant is giving more number of grains and more weight of grains, and also that the plants are capable of growing in different areas, okay, so that we can increase the production of the agricultural products. So students, what efforts we have made yet? We have made some efforts like green revolution and white revolution. So green revolution was to increase the production of agricultural products, especially the grains. So dear students, the grains and vegetables, fruits, like all these things, okay. So dear students, green revolution, we introduced certain modern technologies, certain modern equipments for doing agricultural practices. Also we introduced the usage of fertilizers and high quality seeds. So this gave rise to a sudden increase in the cultivation, in the yield of the crops. But green revolution also given rise to excessive use of natural resources, and a lot of pollution caused due to fertilizers, okay. Now white revolution was to increase the growth of milk production by introducing dairy development program. The introduction of these revolutions has led to an increased use of natural resources. Hence now sustainable method of increasing crop and livestock efficiency are also required. So dear students, let's discuss how do we improve the crop yield. But before discussing crop yield, let's learn certain classification, or we can say the types of crops. So the types of crops based on the major nutrient present them is like this: that first category of crops is cereals. They include wheat, rice, maize, millets and sorghum, and a few more. So the major nutrient present in the cereals is carbohydrate. So when you eat cereals, the major nutrients that you obtain is the carbohydrates. Now let's discuss about the pulses. Pulses are the crops which give mainly proteins. So pulses are rich sources of proteins, and you know the names like gram, black gram, green gram, pigeon pea and lentil. Then comes the oil seed. These are the crops which give rise to oils and fats. So oils are obtained from these crops. The examples are soybean, groundnut, sesame, castor, mustard, and sunflower. Then comes the vegetables, fruits, spices. Right, here are the examples, and they are the rich source of minerals and vitamins, along with many sugars which are called carbohydrates, and some amount of fat and protein. So they are the rich sources. The major nutrient present in them is mineral and vitamins. Then comes the fodder crops. These are the crops which are used as a food for livestock, means they are given as a food for animals. Livestock means animals, right? So berseem, oat, and Sudan grass, these are the plants which are given. Here you can see certain pictures are given, like cowpea, green pea, lentil, okay, moong, chickpea, and soybean. Now another categorization of crops is given here, that is the categorization of crops on the basis of season in which they are growing. For example, kharif crop, rabi crop, and zaid. However, this one is not given in NCERT book, so we will learn about the kharif and rabi crops. Kharif crops generally grown in rainy seasons, and rabi crop grown in winter seasons. In class 8th also we have discussed about them. So they are grown from June to October, and they are grown from November to April. So kharif crops examples are rice, maize, and millets, and rabi crop examples are soybean, pigeon pea, and wheat. So these examples you have to learn. Zaid crops are examples like watermelon and cucumber, and then generally they are actually grown during the summer seasons. Now once we have discussed about the classification of crops, let's discuss how do we improve the crop yield. So for the improvement of crop yield, we need to do certain things like crop variety improvement, crop production improvement, crop protection management, right? So there are different strategies. Let's see what do you mean by crop variety improvement. So dear students, what we discussed. So now let's understand what is crop variety improvement. Crop variety improvement means the improvement of features, the improvement of characteristics of a particular crop or of a particular plant. So for an example, if we talk about wheat plant, right? So suppose this is the wheat plant, and these are the grains of wheat. These are the grains of wheat. So what we want that the grains should be healthy, they should be big enough, and there should be larger number of grains, and the plant should also be means resistant to the fluctuations in the climate, and it should be capable of growing in different types of climates, different types of soils, right? And it should be resistant to the diseases and pests. So there are certain means desirable features which we want in a crop variety, but generally we have different types of variety having different desirable and undesirable features. For example, this is a plant which is the variety one, which has larger number of grains and large grains, but this is very much sensitive to the diseases, means it catches very easily the diseases, and pests attack it very easily. But on the other hand, there is one plant which has very small grains and a small number of grains, right? But this is highly resistant to the diseases. No bacteria and fungi can attack it, or this means and pests also are not attacking it. So there is one advantageous thing and there is one disadvantage, that the grains are very small. But on the other hand, this variety has larger grains, but this is very much susceptible to the diseases. So what we want to combine the two features into the same variety, means we want that this feature of bigger grains comes to one variety, and in the same variety another feature that it is highly resistant to the diseases should also come in that variety. So how will we combine these features in a same variety? This is done by two methods. One is the hybridization method, and the other is introduction of gene by the process of biotechnologies or by recombinant DNA technology. So hybridization, in this process, in this hybridization we generally simply crossbreed. Crossbreed means we perform cross pollination, fertilization between the two different varieties. Suppose there is one variety which is giving big grains and the other variety which is giving very small grains, but this is very weak and this is very strong variety, means in terms of having resistant, this is susceptible to the diseases and this is resistant to the diseases, right? So what we will do, we will crossbreed them, means we will take the pollen grains from here and put the stigma into this plant, put on the stigma into this plant. So we will do this pollination practice, and after that the progeny, the daughter plants produced from these two parents plants, some of them will be having both the features, right? They, some of the plants which are produced from the crossbreeding of these plants will be having both the features, like they will be green, giving big grains, and they will be disease resistant also. Okay, so this process is called hybridization. So the process of crossbreeding is called hybridization, and this is of three types. Intervarietal means when the hybridization or crossbreeding is done between two varieties of plants. In the same way, interspecific, when this is done between two different species of the plants. Or intergeneric means when it is done between two genus or genera of the plant. Now another method is the introduction of gene. This is done by recombinant DNA technology, we can say, and some more procedures of biotechnology. So in this method what we do, we introduce certain genes which give desirable characteristics to the crops. So when we provide certain gene, when we insert certain gene into the variety, and the gene carries desirable characteristics, right? So as a result, the crop which is produced, which is called genetically modified crops. So if we introduce some genes of desirable characteristics into a plant, that means we are producing genetically modified crop, because the genes of the crop is being modified here. So that is called genetically modified crops. Then comes factors on which crop yield generally depends. So these factors are actually that the seeds used by the farmers should be of similar variety, then only the crop will be good. Then climate or weather conditions, so they should be able to grow in different or diverse climatic conditions. The plants or crops should be capable of growing diverse climatic conditions. This term is, I think, something mistyping. So this means the third point means that the plant should be capable of growing in different types of salinity or even highly saline soil. So if the crops should be capable of growing in high salinity soils, means such a soil which has large amount of water, salty water, or which has large amount of salt. So if the soil has large amount of salt, then it is called salinity, high salinity of the soil, right? This will be called saline soil. Okay, now availability of water, so the crop should be capable of growing on the availability, means on even lower availability of water, right? So they should be grown as per the water which is available in the region. So these were a few methods we discussed. There are two methods we discussed for crop variety improvement and the factors on which the crop yield depends. Next is, why do we need to perform a crop variety improvement? This is the question. Why do we need to perform crop variety improvement? So it is twins. Improvement in variety need to be done in order to increase the yield of the crops, so that the crop is giving more production. Okay, then improving the quality of the crop. Different crops may have different qualities. For example, pulses have high protein quality, oil seeds have oil quality, and vegetables must have preserving quality. So improving crop resistant to the biotic and abiotic stresses. Improving crop resistant to the biotic and abiotic stresses. So biotic stress refers to the diseases, insects, nematodes, while abiotic stress refers to floods, droughts, heat, and cold weather. So if we want to improve the crop variety, that means we want to make the plant resistant to abiotic and biotic stresses. Then to shorten the maturity period of the crops, this is again a very important feature, that we want that the crop should be maturing in a very shorter period, means the time they take to give the product is very small, right? So this will allow farmers to grow a variety of crops in a year. It would also lead to an increase in the yield of the crop, as it reduces the chance of losses during the harvesting and simplifies the harvesting period. Then achieving the required agronomic characteristics of the crop, for example, right height, weight, lodging, resistant, high yield. In this way they would consume the right nutrients and produce a higher yield. So dear students, in the next topic, in the next video, we will discuss crop production management. Also read your NCERT textbook. From there we will be discussing further.